Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this IISF curtain raiser and the webinar on cultivation of Hing in India. So most of you are aware of India International Science Festival. So I'll just give you a brief introduction and then we move on with the talk by Dr. Shekhar C. Mande and Dr. Vijay Bhatkar. So today, as we are witnessing the COVID-19 pandemic, you see there is a lot of news and focus on scientists and science. I think this is almost unprecedented, perhaps in our lifetimes, that we see so much focus on science. But once things are normal, say we go back to the times before COVID or even once the problem is solved, will there be focus on science and scientists? One does not know, and we hope that this continues, the attention to the science. But realizing very early on the need for communicating science to the public at large, Ministry of Science and Technology and VIBA together have been organizing this India International Science Festival. The goal of this is to take the science from the labs to the common man, to make them understand and also to gain inputs from them as well and how to improve the science. This has been the guiding spirit of this festival, and it has started in 2015 onwards, and now it has emerged as one of the major calendar event in the scientific community. So we are this year CSIR is the organizer. Every year one of the scientific departments is the key organizer, and with participation from all across all the departments and ministries and science and research technologies. So this year CSR is a coordinator along with other departments. So this curtain raiser is to give you a flavor of what is going to happen between 22nd and 25th December. What can you look forward to? So I request firstly Dr. Shekhar C. Mande, DG CSIR and Secretary DSIR, to give his opening remarks and welcome everyone.
Thank you, Geeta. It's a great privilege to have Dr. Vijay Bhatkar with us today. We know Dr. Vijay Bhatkar as the principal architect of India's supercomputing. In the years when the Western countries were denying India technology, is principally due to the efforts of Dr. Bhatkar that India could make the first supercomputer, and we see the results of that today. How much progress India has made because of his single-handed efforts then. But also Dr. Bhatkar is our mentor in Vigyan Bharati. And as you heard from Geeta, that India International Science Festival is typically organized by Ministry of Science and Technology, Ministry of Earth Sciences, and from this year, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare in collaboration with Vigyan Bharati. And Dr. Bhatkar has been our mentor and the president of Vigyan Bharati for last several years. It's also a pleasure to welcome Dr. Sanjay Kumar, Dr. Pratibha Brahmi, and others in this particular event. As one of the aspects of this year's IISF themes is towards Atmanirbhar Bharat or Self-Reliant India, one topic that was discussed recently in media and everywhere was regarding Hing cultivation. And to be very frank, I was myself not aware till a few months ago that such an essential ingredient in our all our dishes in India is actually we don't even make a gram of that in India. All of it is imported from countries like Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, and so on and so forth. So it's a great pleasure that we'll actually look forward to hearing from both of them about this. But welcome to all of you for this curtain raiser event from CSIR behalf. It's a privilege for CSIR to be hosting this particular event between 22nd and 25th December. As all of you know, it's symbolic. 22nd December is the birthday of Srinivasa Ramanujan, and 25th December is the birthday of the former beloved Prime Minister of India, Shri Atal Bihari Ji Vajpayee. So therefore, the symbolism is that we are hosting the event between these two dates. Dr. Harshvardhan Ji suggested this to us, and we thought it's an excellent idea to do this. I don't want to hold you too long. You're all waiting to listen to Dr. Bhatkar and also about the Heeng story. So I will stop here, welcome all of you for the curtain raiser event, and urge all of you to register for the event in as many large numbers as possible. Please convey this particular message to your family, to your friends, friends, and so on and so forth, and do register for the event in as many numbers as possible. Thank you all very much and welcome again.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Mande, for this welcoming words. And I know you have already introduced Dr. Vijay P. Bhatkar. But a formal introduction, I think as Dr. Mande mentioned, he is the chairman of Vigyan Bharati, who is the co-organizer of this event along with the Ministry of Science and Technology. And as Dr. Mande mentioned, he is one of the pioneers of India's IT industry. And I think we all owe to India's IT industry today that we are able to do virtual meetings, and also the whole event of IISF at this massive scale is going to be an online event. Perhaps it's not conceivable at the time when Dr. Bhatkar and others were developing the supercomputers that there will be a future like this. But I think it's because of the efforts of the pioneers like Dr. Bhatkar that we are able to enjoy the fruits of IT revolution in India. So he is known for his supercomputing initiatives of Paran, and he has received many awards. He's a Padma Bhushan and Padma Shri awardee and Maharashtra Bhushan awardee, to name a few. And he is a founder executive director of CDAC, and he is also the chancellor of Nalanda University. And I think with these few words, I invite Dr. Bhatkar to give his remarks and take us through the India International Science Festival, the thought process behind it, and what does he foresee as the future of this India International Science Festival. Dr. Bhatkar, please.
Sir, you're muted. You'll have to unmute.
Muted, yeah.
Dr. Bhatkar, you have to unmute.
Yeah.
Can somebody call him and figure out? I mean,
No, I think he was visible, and they had done a trial run as well. I think I see them back. Yeah, they've connected back.
Okay, I think sorry for that glitch. And
yeah. Now we can hear you very well, sir. Please.
Okay. So just thanking Dr. Shekhar Mande for inviting me for this event, because I was talking to Dr. Sanjay Kumar that long time back I decided and I wanted to earnestly come to Palampur, see this Institute of Bioresources, and of course enjoy the Himalayan scenes there and feel that institute there. Today we are taking a very important issue. I think one of the important issues of, as Dr. Shekhar Mande talked about, is Hing. Hing, I think one issue which is of course connected with all our taste buds. I think without we cannot enjoy our food. If you know, I think we know that one of the great what do you call features of India is Indian spices. Indian spices, I think all of you and we enjoy, and this is a unique feature of our cuisine and our eating, and of course, and that's what we enjoy. That's why the world enjoys, I think, the Indian food in that sense. And Hing is a very important part. But I think most of us, like Dr. Shekhar Mande said, do not know that Hing is not cultivated. Most of the other spices are cultivated in India. I think they are abundantly available. They're exported all over the world. They are in everybody. I think there are so many restaurants. Many people have started adopting that kind of things. And I think the Britishers wanted to remain in India forever for Indian taste, for other things, food they enjoy. Anyway, I think now I'm very keen to listen to this story, or I think feel that, experience that story from Dr. Sanjay Kumar, the story of Hing and its cultivation in India. Now, when the statement was made that Hing is not cultivated in India, and how is that possible? I started asking that question, how is that possible? I think in that context, one thing occurred to me that what we call as India today, what we call as the borders of India today, I think we have to consider what was India, what is called Bharatvarsha, and what we call I think there was a movement at the time of independence itself. There was a movement that they should be not the Bharat as Britishers are defining. It is a thing should be we should define the borders should be defined like what they projected as Akhanda Bharat. That time, India was, I think, was a constituent. I think about 15 more nations, 15 nations conglomerate, what we call something like a SARC, but SARC doesn't define it. And there is even today a movement that one day, I think India will be the ancient Bharatvarsha, where I think a conglomerate of 15 nations put together. I think where the same culture exists. And in that context, of course, Dr. Mandi, when you said that in Iran and Afghanistan and Uzbekistan and other, all they were part of India. So that's how I think this what we see today. The cuisine that time and our kitchens that time, I think had assimilated all those things with us, and that's how Hing is integral part of this our cooking and our food. So and now because it has become so important for us that we cannot enjoy any food without this thing and the great initiative that we have taken, that we are now cultivating in Palampur. Now we have to cultivate in different parts of India. I think today is possible, and it should become the one of the great crops. And we have done it for many crops. I think if you really see the historical this one from ancient times, we have assimilated many things, and that's also integral part of our culture. I think integral part of the Indian culture is a universal culture. The Vedic culture has, and I just completed a book which I could have shown, but the book which is how the Indian culture or the civilization really does not define that, has spread all over the world. The book is currently in Marathi, and I'm going to put it in Hindi and English. Almost all nations were covered in this culture. How? And you can see the traces of that, the footprints of that culture, even today, and many more nations. I was going to YouTube and seeing that how many nations are adopting now. I think the Indian culture, the Indian way of what they call Hindu way of living or the Vedic way of living. So many countries are now that's a great trend which we are seeing. And that's understand that our culture was truly all embracing. And that's why we see that we are able to assimilate different things from different countries, different ways of living, and we always looked at that way. So in that context, the Indian food one day I feel, well, of course, it is already the world food in that sense, but it will spread. It will spread, and it will be an integral part of our living everywhere. This one, so in that context, the Hing is very important. Now, when I'm looking at this IISF, there should be we can have panel on that on the Indian food and that culture and its modern evolutions and some modern presentations. There should be some it can come from Palampur. I think our Dr. Sanjay Kumar's laboratory, that how this food and how these resources are being used in integral part of our life. This is another thing which I wanted to talk about. This sixth IISF I think is going to be a great challenge for us. I think I'm very happy that it is going to be one of the largest science event in the world, one of the largest science event in the world, taking place on this virtual space. I think from that space, this would have never been possible. We sitting from your different laboratories, different cities, different parts of the sun. Some are stationary, some are moving, and in that event we are experiencing this event like this, and it is going to be a challenge for IT because in what manner we want to present is also a challenge for that. In that sense, we can present in the virtual reality frameworks also possibility. If the technologies we are able to organize properly, there are virtual reality, there is a mixed reality, there is extended reality. Those frameworks, we can touch the products, we can buy the products, we can move around like this. We can be in our laboratory demonstrating the experiments virtually. So there are many possibilities, as our Honorable Dr. Harshvardhanji presented, that there are now dimensions in which we can take this, more dimensions in which we have than we have been able to do so far. And it's good that even in this challenge we have increased our number of events from 28 to 41. I think instead of taking that, now it cannot be done, getting constrained and limited, we are extending our thinking that so far we could conduct only 28 events, but now we'll be conducting 41 events like this and from different places. So this is one challenge which we are taken. We are participating more Guinness Book of Records. We have knowledge for participating, but today now more, I think more than four, or I don't know, four Guinness Book of Records we are participating this time. And there are other dimensions which we will experience, which we said that will bring a new dimension, which has become the world even. I think is also the international dimension. Looking at the proceedings of National Academy of Sciences, this time we are talking that the definition of science has been limited so far. Definition of science have also include, I think, in a very liberal way. So we'll include also, I think, the film dimension has been there, and there will be there are other dimensions which will be included, which are normally considered as science, arts. But in the Indian definition of science, we call all, we saw even the dance form as Nritya Shastra. Shastra is science. We're talking about the Sangeet Shastra. They have been always part of their language. Is also considered as a science. One of the great science and language today. The IT is really, really expanding in the understanding the different dimensions of language. So we call it Bhasha Shastra. So these dimensions will be now we are embracing. And in that sense, we are, I think, we are expanding the boundaries of science, not in the Indian context, but also in the world context. So this is another thing which we will experience this time. And I'm very happy that Dr. Mande has been part of this. We have seen that when the arts dimensions are getting introduced to it, and what a grand science the language is, what a grand science the dance forms are, and what a grand science the music is, what C.V. Raman was experience of the Indian instruments and other things. So this is, of course, expanding and also our educational system, which has been limited to only the definition of science of physics, chemistry, mathematics, etc., etc., and now the information technology. Another dimension is the information technology, is that there is some philosophy.
Is there break-in connection from Dr. Bhatkar's side?
Yeah, I think there is some internet connectivity problem, perhaps.
I think so, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, let's wait a couple of seconds and see.
So I think.
Yeah, he's back.
We are missed out.
Yes, yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah.
Can hear, okay. So there is a question now that what is reality? What we call as physical reality? I'm touching this table or looking at it, or I'm looking at you. Is that not real? Or is it unreal? So this question philosophically had come much earlier also during the Vedic times, what we call, and we have defined a new word. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So what we are calling is real or unreal. We have a new word. No, not new word. We called it, Shankaracharya coined that word or called it Vivarta. It's neither real nor unreal. So he called it Vivarta. The entire life which we experience is neither real nor unreal unless we know the true reality, which we call it Paramarthik Satya. So I think that dimension also we are exploring. I think this is particularly during the pandemic time, because these challenges have come before us. Sometimes we are able to perform experiments. Although there are, I think, the collaboratories. I can be at Palampur simultaneously performing experiment, Dr. Sanjay Kumar, or touching the plant simultaneously, and also doing experiments on this. So these are the dimensions I think CSIR and we all scientific community we are doing it. We have already done this. From the same experiment is being performed simultaneously by touching it or by interacting with it from different cities at the same time, and nobody maybe on different planets at the same time. So these dimensions, I think we will try to explore in the IISF and show the dimensions yet to be unfolded in this which was not possible earlier. So I'm very happy participating. We'll have some great experience in sitting in the CSR headquarters. I'm sitting in my headquarters here. Similarly, and our scientists all simultaneously and at a scale. Once we get connected on the social networks, we have never done before. I think this will be a great experience, and I'm very happy that the ICR participating was particularly for the cultivation. The ICR is what is it called, National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources, which is important, very important aspect of it, and they are very important dimension because it is the century of biology. It is all that kind of thing which will converge together. Somehow the ICR remain distinctly different because of the ministerial organizations. It must be embraced like that kind of thing. And Dr. Mashalkar was a part of that, and we must bring ICR and all the other laboratories close together, and we should be doing, because that is where our future lies. So I'm very happy that you are illustrating it on Hing, which will, I think, excite the buds of everybody. Our food is not complete, and I'm eager to hear your story, Dr. Sanjay Kumar. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Bhatkar. Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful message and setting the direction for the IISF. And we look forward to an exciting event and your mentorship. Thank you. And I will just play a short video of IISF as a promo event for people to know about it. And after that, we'll move to the webinar on the Heeng Story. I'll just play the video for the benefit of the audience. I hope it is visible.
IISF एक बहुप्रतीक्षित कार्यक्रम है जिसमें विज्ञान, प्रौद्योगिकी और नवाचार के क्षेत्र में भारत की उपलब्धियों का उत्सव मनाया जाता है। IISF का उद्देश्य समाज के सभी वर्गों में विज्ञान के प्रति जागरूकता का प्रसार करना है। IISF छात्र छात्राओं, शिक्षकों, शोधकर्ताओं, नवाचारकों, वैज्ञानिकों, शिल्पकारों, नीति निर्धारकों आदि सभी वर्गों को एक ऐसा मंच प्रदान करता है जहां विज्ञान के माध्यम से समाज के विकास पर विचार मंथन किया जा सके। IISF का आयोजन 2015 से किया जा रहा है। अभी तक 5 IISF आयोजित हो चुके हैं। इस वर्ष इंडिया इंटरनेशनल साइंस फेस्टिवल का 6वां संस्करण 22 से 25 दिसंबर 2020 तक वर्चुअल स्वरूप में आयोजित किया जा रहा है।
लोगों के अंदर एक ऐसी समझ है कि विज्ञान एक बहुत ही कठिन, गंभीर इस प्रकार का विषय है। इसलिए हमने ऐसे सोचा कि विज्ञान को एक उत्सव के रूप में प्रस्तुत करना चाहिए, विज्ञान का उत्सव मनाना चाहिए। इसलिए हमने ये सोचा कि ये भारत का अंतर्राष्ट्रीय विज्ञान महोत्सव, इस प्रकार का ये कार्यक्रम विकसित करेंगे, इंडिया इंटरनेशनल साइंस फेस्टिवल। सो वी आर गोइंग टू सेलिब्रेट साइंस ओवर हियर थ्रू दिस फेस्टिवल। तो इस प्रकार की कल्पना करके इस कार्यक्रम की कल्पना हुई और 2015 में पहली बार यह कार्यक्रम प्रस्तुत किया गया।
17 नवंबर को नई दिल्ली में 6ठे भारतीय अंतर्राष्ट्रीय विज्ञान महोत्सव के कर्टन रेजर यानी घोषणा कार्यक्रम का आयोजन किया गया। केंद्रीय विज्ञान एवं प्रौद्योगिकी, पृथ्वी विज्ञान और स्वास्थ्य एवं परिवार कल्याण मंत्री डॉक्टर हर्षवर्धन ने इस घोषणा कार्यक्रम का शुभारंभ किया। इस मौके पर आयोजन से संबंधित सभी मंत्रालयों और विभागों के पदाधिकारी मौजूद रहे। आपको बता दें, कोविड महामारी को देखते हुए इस बार IISF का आयोजन वर्चुअल माध्यम से किया जा रहा है। 22 से 25 दिसंबर तक चलने वाले इस कार्यक्रम को इस बार आत्मनिर्भर भारत एवं विश्व कल्याण के लिए विज्ञान थीम दिया गया है। घोषणा कार्यक्रम के दौरान IISF 2020 की वेबसाइट और एक ब्रोशर का भी विमोचन किया गया।
सारा देश जानता है कि 2015 से लगातार हम हर वर्ष देश में इंडिया करते हैं। छठा साइंस फेस्टिवल विज्ञान को कैसे फेस्टिवल के रूप में, एक आंदोलन के रूप में देश में विकसित किया जाए, क्योंकि हमारे वैज्ञानिकों का भी यही मत है और यही प्रयास है कि विज्ञान के माध्यम से जनता की सब अनसुलझी समस्याओं का समाधान किया जाए।
विज्ञान भारती और विज्ञान एवं प्रौद्योगिकी मंत्रालय, पृथ्वी विज्ञान मंत्रालय और स्वास्थ्य एवं परिवार कल्याण मंत्रालय के अधीन सभी विभागों के सहयोग से संचालित इस मेगा साइंस फेस्टिवल के आयोजन की जिम्मेदारी इस बार वैज्ञानिक तथा औद्योगिक अनुसंधान परिषद को दी गई है।
हमारा तो प्रयास है कि लाखों से लोगों को इसमें जुड़ा पाए, क्योंकि ये एक हमारा अवसर होता है जिस वक्त हम हमारे प्रयोगशाला में जो विज्ञान होता है वो लोगों तक उसे पहुंचा पाए। क्या होता है कि काफी लोगों में ये रुचि रहती है कि वैज्ञानिक चार दीवारों के पीछे में क्या करते हैं, किस तरह के एक्सपेरिमेंट्स करते हैं, उससे क्या निष्कर्ष होता है, उससे समाज को क्या फायदा होता है। तो ऐसे सवालों का जो जवाब है वो आसान नहीं होता है, क्योंकि विज्ञान को बहुत सरल भाषा में लोगों तक पहुंचाना ये बहुत कठिन काम है। और इसलिए IISF जैसे जो फेस्टिवल्स है उनका मकसद यही होता है कि हम लोगों तक हमारा जो एक्साइटमेंट है वो ले जा पाए।
छठे IISF के आयोजन के लिए नोडल संस्था CSIR नई दिल्ली स्थित राष्ट्रीय विज्ञान प्रौद्योगिकी और विकास अध्ययन संस्थान यानी CSIR NISTED है।
We have come up with new events. 13 new events have been added this time, and there I will say need of the hour. For example, sustainable development goals, our environment, how masses should be made aware about the sensitivity towards environment. So we have created a whole lot of
Geeta, cannot hear you.
जिनमें इस बार भारतीय विज्ञान का इतिहास, दर्शन और विज्ञान, एग्रीटेक, स्वच्छ वायु, ऊर्जा, अपशिष्ट और स्वच्छता, जैव विविधता और विज्ञान कूटनीति जैसे नए प्रासंगिक विषयों को जोड़ा गया है। वर्चुअल प्लेटफॉर्म के चलते इस बार IISF की पहुंच भी बढ़ गई है। माना जा रहा है कि इस बार लगभग 1 लाख से ज्यादा प्रतिभागी विज्ञान के इस महासमागम में शामिल हो सकते हैं। वैज्ञानिकों, अन्वेषकों, छात्रों और नागरिकों को जीवन के विभिन्न विषयों में आपसी आदान प्रदान का ये मंच अब एक बहुप्रतीक्षित वार्षिक कार्यक्रम बन गया है, जहां विज्ञान, प्रौद्योगिकी और नवाचार की उपलब्धियों का जश्न मनाया जाता है।
IISF 2020 के दौरान होने वाले विभिन्न आयोजनों के लिए आप IISF 2020 की या NISTED की वेबसाइट देख सकते हैं। इन कार्यक्रमों में आप ऑनलाइन रजिस्ट्रेशन भी करा सकते हैं। आप सभी से निवेदन है कि अधिक से अधिक संख्या में इन कार्यक्रमों में हिस्सा लें।
So thank you everyone, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and we hope many of you will participate in the event and do register, and we have exciting stories for you there in IISF, and we are giving you a glimpse of one of those stories for Atmanirbhar Bharat, as has been spoken by Dr. Mande and Dr. Bhatkar about Hing. So we go on to the Hing webinar now, and as we, I think I don't need to describe anything more about Hing. I will introduce Dr. Sanjay Kumar, who is the Director of Institute of Himalayan Bioresources and Technology Institute of CSIR based in Palampur. He is the director of this institute, and he has obtained his PhD from Indian Agricultural Research Institute and has done postdoctoral work in the US and has been with IHBT ever since 1990. He has done some pioneering work in introducing Hing and monk fruit and saffron and many other such developments in the country. And I request Dr. Sanjay Kumar to talk to us and inform us about the various initiatives undertaken by IHBT and what is the story of Hing, which we are all hearing about. Dr. Sanjay Kumar.
Thank you, Dr. Geeta. Honorable Professor Bhatkar sir, I think you set the stage very correctly that how in India we should be pursuing the science by setting the examples, what you have been doing in the past through supercomputers and all those things. And you see, under this pandemic situation, sir, we are all taking advantage of that computerization, which you thought such a long back. So thank you so much, sir, for guiding us through science and technology, how it can benefit the mankind. Uh, Honorable DG CSIR, Dr. Shekhar C. Mande, Dr. Pratibha, uh, who is scientist at ICR, National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources. Indeed, a pleasure to share you the story of Hing. So I have prepared a small presentation and I'll share with you the presentation. Can you see the presentation, please?
Yes, we can see your presentation. Yeah, please.
Okay, thank you. So I'll just tell you how we thought of introducing Hing in the country and how it all started. Actually, in 2016 or so, we were analyzing the bioresources of the Himalayan region. And we were studying various genus and species which are present in the country and particularly our Himalayan zone. And we were going through this ferula species. So we were getting several ferula species, and therefore, we had some slight things that, there are some ferula species which is very useful, but it did not click at the time really the asphodida, because all the species that we were getting were different species and not the asphodida. Then what happened? We have a center of high altitude biology in the cold desert areas, and that is in Kelong area in the Ribbling. There is a place known as Ribbling at the height of 11,500 feet. And what we realized whenever we used to visit that place, it was a cold desert area, nothing grows, and all barren land used to be there. So we always thought, what else could be grown here? So these were two major questions that were in our mind. And then we thought, why not to study, in such cold desert areas, what people do to have their livelihood. And when we compared, we realized that places like Afghanistan and Iran, they have this plant species known as Ferula asphodida, which grows very luxuriantly. And there it struck. We had a base of database which said that we do not have Ferula asphodida, but we have other ferulas. And then we had this base that, Ferula asphodida is grown in places like Afghanistan and Iran. And then we try to see our import-export data. So we contacted the Spice Board of India, and they said that, all the hing that we consume in this country is all imported. So they said around 1,500 tons of hing is imported in this country, around 1,000 crore rupees every year we spend for importing this hing. And then hing is, as Professor Bhatkar also said, Professor Mande also said, it's so important ingredient in our life. And we thought, why can't we do anything with this hing? So that's how it all started. And then when we see our, across the globe, you see our India is here, and adjacent to India, you have Afghanistan, Iran, Uzbekistan. And as Professor Bhatkar said very correctly, that at one time we were all Akhand Bharat, and we used to get all our hings from Afghanistan majorly, and we never realized that, we should be growing hing because we thought it's automatically met, demand is met. And today, if you see our import data, 90% of our hing comes from Afghanistan, around 8% from Uzbekistan and 2% from Iran, and little bit, from other countries. But these are the major sources of hing which is there into our country. And then what we thought, if that is the scenario, then where the hing can be grown? Although by our experience, we were thinking that Lahaul and Spiti, Leh, Ladakh is the right place for hing cultivation. But we thought, why don't we do some ecological niche modeling also, so that we know some more areas. And when we did this ecological niche modeling, whereby, we put various parameters like temperature, soil condition, and other parameters. And what we realized that places apart from Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, Uttarakhand also is very suitable, And also in Arunachal Pradesh, we got few spots, although the spots were not very strong, so I have not shown here. But in places like Arunachal Pradesh also, we can grow this Hing. And as Professor Bhatkar was telling, that we don't have to limit to one part of the country, can we do in other part of the country as well? So, sir, from ecological niche modeling, we got some priority areas where this Hing could be grown. And this is just to share with the audience that how the cold desert areas in our country look like for example in Lahore, in Ladakh, like Spiti Valley, the Nubra Valley in Ladakh, how they all look like. And you can see, it's all desert, and this is the place which is liked by Ferula asphodela, right? Then I thought I would like also to share some of the information with our audience that what are the Ferula species in this in our country. And if you see, there is a species known as Ferula jessicana, which is found in Himachal Pradesh, Jammu Kashmir, Ladakh and Uttarakhand region, right? But it is not Ferula asphodela. Then you have Ferula ovina, which is present in Jammu and Kashmir. You have Ferula thompsonii, which is present in Jammu and Kashmir. Then you have Ferula narthex, which is in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. And at times, the oleogum of Ferula narthex, which is not the correct asphodela, but sometimes it is used as substitute of Hing. But remember, it is not true Hing, it is only substitute of Hing. So, therefore, a lot of chemistry is needed when we talk of Hing, and we need to have the proper standards. And I'll show you some work that we have already initiated into this direction. So, these are the 4 species which were reported in various literatures, right? And then, very recently, one more report came on the flora of cold desert of Western Himalaya in India, and it describes various Ferula species, but does not describe asphodela. So these literatures very evidently established that Ferula asphodela is not present in our country. And when we confirmed from Spice Board, they said that the Hing that we get in this country is from various countries. And then, we also consulted some of the Ayurvedic literature. And there is a description of word Hingu. And they say that whatever Hingu we use, that is taken from Afghanistan and Persia. At that time, Iran was known as Persia. So they use the word Persia and Afghanistan. So these 2 places, they have referred in our Ayurvedic Granth. So it means the Ferula asphodela or Hing that we get in this, even for Ayurvedic purpose, we used to get it from Afghanistan and Iran. So this was very well established. So now from 2017, then our story started. So we started writing various countries like Iran, Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, South Africa also. We got some addresses in South Africa, wrote several hundreds of mails, several messages, WhatsApp also we used very extensively. Then finally, one of the professor at the Iran University, he agreed to gift us some seeds of the Hing. And that was the breaking point. Now, once he agreed, then we thought how to get this. And that's where our ICR played a very positive role, I must say. And fortunately, Dr. Pratibha Brahmish, who was dealing the whole case and who is in charge of this whole department today, she is there with us. So we started interacting with NBPGR, and NBPGR really facilitated in terms of giving us permits. I think such a fast speed they offered us permit without any delays, and that is an exemplary thing. So it was a very good example of CSIR and ICR working together, and they gave a series of permits so that we could get the Hing seeds in this country. And now they also confirmed, ICR, that in the past 30 years, nobody else tried to get the Hing seeds in this country, and ours was the only organization which tried to get these Hing seeds in this country. Again, this letter was from Dr. Pratibha Brahmi, who is available for today's talk. And now, once the seeds were received at NBPGR, they did all the due procedure, they do risk analysis and so many things that she will be better able to tell us. And then they did the due diligence before giving us the seeds. And finally, in October 2018, we saw the first set of the Hing at our institute. And you can imagine the joy. And for the first time also in our life, we have seen how the Hing seeds look like. And that was something exciting feature. Now, once seeds had with us, now our effort was how to do cultivation, mass cultivation of these seeds, number one, and are there any barriers that we have to face. So I'll give you little glimpses of the science that we did to cultivate this thing. Now, you'll be surprised, even germination, seed germination was a challenge. What we wanted, suppose we got 1 kg seed, just give you an example, we did not just want to throw it into the field. We wanted to take the plants and then put it in the field so that we ensure there is no mortality or minimum mortality. For that, the challenge was that we should know how to germinate the seeds and how to grow them. Now, we optimize all the condition for seed germination. You see, initial when we did, it was only 2%, and then we enhanced it to 70%. And now our seed germination, whatever technique that we are using, it's pretty advanced nowadays. And just to show you some data that what is the level of germination that you get at different temperature. It is just one parameter, but we do so many other parameters. Now, second challenge was after seed is germinated, then what is the soil condition under nursery condition, because we wanted to raise nurseries so that we can take the plants in the sleeve and then put it into the field. That was our motive. So we wanted to optimize all the condition in the nursery, soil condition, temperature condition, fertilizer condition, and so many other conditions we used to, we had optimized in under lab condition. And here I'm showing you some Hing seedlings, Hing root that we got just within 1 year. Can you believe such a small plant and such a strong root system? It's a remarkable plant, I would say, in terms of development of the root. And then we put this Hing plantation at our high altitude center at Ribbling, which is at 12,000 feet height in cold desert areas. Our institute is there. And here I'm showing you different photograph, of the field trials that we did. And you can see, during winter season, right, for example, during this period, all Hing plants are under snow. When snow will melt, the Hing plant will come again and they will accumulate all the Hing into the roots, and then again it will go down under the snow. So we did a lot of field trials now, and so this was part on the agrotechnology that we established, and which was very important. Now, second important thing was that whatever material that we are having, there should be some way to say that this is Hing and this is not Hing. That was very important, right? Tomorrow somebody should not say that this is Hing, and something which is resembling the Hing, that is the Hing. Like, for example, so we developed a DNA barcode, and today we have a DNA barcode. So whatever plant material that we have, we can tell by barcoding that whether it is DNA seeds of Hing or not. So we did that. And along with that, we are doing some transcriptome and genomic work as well, so that we understand how Hing is synthesized so that it can be manipulated. And once genome information is with us, then so many manipulations are possible. As Dr. Bhatkar was telling, can we show it, in different parts of the country itself? So I'll just come to that. But this is the primary information which gives us all that important information. Second important issue was that we should have markers of Hing. And this, whatever you are seeing here, is all done in our institute. So we developed markers of this Hing. One is on volatile. For example, moment you open the Hing, you can smell from a distance. It means some volatiles comes. So we identified what are those important volatiles. And we also now comparing Hing, that is Ferula asphodida, with different other species of Hing, like, for example, Ferula jessicana and so many others. And just for example, here I'm showing you that Ferula asphodida, for example, has 28 compounds, whereas jessicana has only 20 compounds, right? So therefore, Hing is Hing and jessicana is not Hing, just to give you an example. And then we have all the composition of this Hing with us, so that tomorrow we can say that, how and what is the chemical profile of Hing. And tomorrow we can give to FSSI the real marker that should be there to monitor if something is Hing or something is not Hing. And similarly, we developed the complete metabolite profile of Hing also. And all this work we did with our 1-year-old roots. Yeah, so can you believe that within 1 year, Hing synthesis takes place and it's quite okay. So we are going ahead in terms of developing all the metabolite profile, fingerprint of metabolites and all that. Now, an interesting thing I would like to share, which Professor Bhatkar also mentioned, that what can be the alternative technologies to grow Hing across the country? Because the amount that we consume, can there be alternative methods? And here I'm very happy to share you, although we started very recently but succeeded initially, that we started cultivating Hing in hydroponic conditions. Hydroponic means under soilless condition, under temperature control condition. And if this succeeds, although our initial results shows good success, but if it succeeds, then you can grow at least we can have this hydroponic facilities and start growing the Hing, and that's something would be very, very handy. So this is one alternative technique that we have already initiated, and hopefully we will be successful also. Another thing that we are doing mass propagation through tissue culture. So already callus induction and other things have setting a place. And what is the importance of this work? Moment we have something under tissue culture, then we can multiply quite a large number, so that our requirement of seeds and planting material on other countries is totally taken away. So again, this is yet another direction for Atmanirbhar Bharat, that even not only we grow the Hing in India, but we also have the Hing multiplication process within the country. So this is yet another dimension on which we have already taken lead, and we have already succeeded at least 90%, I would say. Now, realizing these achievements, we had an interaction with the state government, the state agriculture department. So at one hand, ICR helped us significantly in terms of getting seeds, in terms of ensuring that the seed has no diseases. They did all risk analysis, and we totally followed their protocol, whatever they told to us. Another help we got is from the state government. And this was something very unusual. In the budget speech, Honorable Chief Minister of Himachal Pradesh, Shri Jairam Thakurji, he said that, he started a program known as Krishi Se Sampannata Yojana. He started a new program altogether, and he included Hing into that. And he said that this money should go to IHBT, and IHBT should train our officers, and then their officers in turn will determine where Hing will be sown in the state. So now we have this very tight agreement, and moment it came from Honorable Chief Minister, then immediately MOU was signed between our institute and the State Department of Agriculture on 6th June, and everything started then falling in place. Then immediately after that, in July, we conducted one capacity building program, and now you can see immediately after that, we went to various places throughout the state. For example, in Lahore Valley, we went to 4 different villages: Kwaring, Madgram, Biling, and Kilong. These are the 4 different places we started sowing. In Mandi district, we went to Katru, Majhakal, Janjeli, Ghayan, and similarly 4 or 5 places in Rokong, in Kinnauр district also. I'm happy to show you in one of the photographs, our DG Saab is also there, Dr. Mande sir, he is also there, and he had planted the Hing plant himself for the first time in Mandi district. Mandi district has never seen Hing plant. So our DG sir has himself planted this Hing. So people were quite excited once DG visited that, the Secretary Government of India is taking interest. And I think people were just mad and they were too excited. So this is how taking the help of state government and the state agriculture department, now we are working with the state very, very closely. And just to show you some of the more photographs where we organize various training programs in different part of the state. And so this was something story about the Hing. And now just I wanted to give you some on the, although what we are doing was very unique in terms of developing technologies for mass propagation, in terms of developing molecular markers, chemical fingerprinting. We also wanted to see what is happening across the world on Hing. And we found that, few publications, mostly from Iran and India. These were the two major countries from where publication came. But all these publications are more towards its, chemical efficacy, formulation, this and that. And we could not really get some hardcore publication as far as high-end science is concerned. Again, various subject-wise publication on last few years. You can see very fragmentary science is done. So I feel there is a lot of opportunity in terms of scientific intervention into this important crop. And some future thing that we would like to give, I will not give so many details. I'll just try to give you one example that, today there is no variety of Hing you can say. For example, in mango, you can say it is Alfonso, it is Dasheri, so it is Chosa, it is Langada. So people know that, there are certain varieties of mango. Now, in Hing, there is no yet any variety. So one of our major mandate of our institute would be now using all the accessions. Today, I must tell you, we have accessions from Afghanistan. Today, we have accessions from, although from Afghanistan accessions, we still have to get it from NBPGR, but we have already get in India, this Afghanistan and Iran and different accessions. So we have opportunity that we can do varietal improvement in Hing, and that variety will come from our institute that I am very, very hopeful. Then we will be developing Hing extraction and processing technologies. Right now, it is very rudimentary and very rude. And we discussed with our process engineers, and they are very positive that some nice Hing extraction technologies and processing technologies will be developed. Right now, whatever Hing we get from Afghanistan and other places, all are processed at one place in Hathras, and from there it moves to different part of the country. But we want to develop a proper production technology of Hing now in our country. And third thing, for which Professor Bhatkar also mentioned, that Hing should not be confined to one place. It means there is a need to develop some alternative production system. And I assure you, sir, we will be able to develop an alternative production system. And we are very hopeful. Can we see Hing production in western part of the country also? I am getting so many queries from Karnataka, from Maharashtra, from Gujarat. Can we sow the Hings here? And if you alternative technology, which is economically viable, because seeing the price of the Hing, we are very hopeful that it will be commercially viable technology. So we'll be able to give in other parts of the country, that we assure you, sir. And so these are the three major issues that will be handling, apart from, sir, so many other things like in terms of characterization, in terms of development of agro-technologies, in terms of understanding molecular biology and mechanism of asafoetida production and so on. So these were, sir, in brief, I wanted to share that how we started on this Hing, how the idea came to us, how the ICR helped us, how state government helped us, and ultimately the result is that within 2 years it has reached the farmer's hand, and that's the satisfaction point. But not yet, sir, till we start getting the Hing which is made in India. That we assure you, sir, that you will get it very much on time. And this is our team, sir, who really worked relentlessly in terms of getting Hing seeds in the country, whether it is Ashok Kumar, whether Sanat Sujat, whether Ramesh, Vikas. So it's a team of our chemists, agro-technologists, breeder, plant biologists, and molecular biologists. So all these guys are working to ensure that we have an Indian Hing, and we are Atmanirbhar, at least in Hing in our country. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your excellent talk. You really addressed many questions which are in our minds, like why we are not growing Hing so far and what are the steps. And it really shows how an organization like CSIR, ICAR come together and actually address very common problems which we many times don't realize it, and how the state government is also working with you. I think this whole approach or the whole ecosystem is very important for making Atmanirbhar Bharat, and this is the lesson I think we can learn from the story of Hing. Thank you so much again for your very excellent talk. And now we move on to Dr. Pratibha Brahmi, who will talk about what was the role ICAR played in this, because it is very important that somebody just cannot pick up the seeds and bring to India and start cultivating it. So there are some processes to be followed, and what is the need for these processes? What happens if we don't follow these processes? These are some of the important questions I think which need to be addressed. And Dr. Pratibha Brahmi is a PhD from Delhi University in botany. Her research interests include the germplasm exchange policy and IPR issues. She is a scientist at the National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources and is heading the germplasm exchange unit over there. I request Dr. Pratibha to give her talk and explain to us how ICAR is playing a critical role in this introducing the Hing in the country.
Thank you, Dr. Geeta. Respected Dr. Malde, Dr. Bhatkar, Dr. Sanjay Kumar. I first of all would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to address all of you and explain my side of the story. Can you hear me? Ma'am?
Yeah, we can hear you, but there is a slight disturbance, perhaps a mobile or something. Maybe there is some noise from somewhere.
But, I don't have anybody around it. Maybe the signals are very weak.
No, it's better. Now it's better.
Now it's better. Okay. So what I was trying to tell you is that MDPGR is one of the ICAR institutions which is involved in introduction of new plant species, as well as giving service to the country, all the scientists in the country who are working on plants and who need resources from outside the country. So the facilitation process is done at NBPGR, and one of the major duties assigned to NBPGR is the plant health. So whenever we are introducing new plants into the country, there is a risk of introducing many diseases and pests along with those plants, which are not occurring in India, or even if they occur in India, they are not so devastating as a foreign entity would be. You must have recently read examples of there is a maize borer which has come into the country, and it is a very devastating pest. So what I would like to now share with you the presentation I have made. Can you see the presentation?
Not yet. Not yet. You have to go on the top. There is a screen that, and click on that. And
now is it okay?
we are just waiting. Not yet, Dr. Pratibha. Okay. Let me do one thing, Dr. Pratibha. I will share my screen. I have your presentation, and you can present it and just tell me when you want to put the next slide.
Okay, right.
Yeah, I'll do that. Just one second. For some reason, your presentation is not coming.
Let's try again.
Oh, I don't know why. Let me try one more. No, for some reason it's not.
Dr. Geeta,
Yeah, please go ahead with that.
visible now?
Yeah, that is the one. Yeah.
I can. There is an overlap of the screen.
Mahesh, please share the presentation.
She has taken over. Ma'am, if you can stop presenting. Yeah, I had presented, but I think she took over. Yeah, ma'am, you can go ahead. It's coming up.
Are you seeing it now?
No, Dr. Pratibha, no.
It's open
Yeah,
on
Mahesh,
my.
please tell me.
Now it is.
No.
It's open in my computer and I have shown it in share screen.
No, that is visible.
Ma'am, I have presented it now.
Yeah, I think we can see it now.
Okay.
But it is not in the complete mode, Mahesh. Dr. Pratibha, maybe you can speak without the slides if that's okay.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I think let's go ahead in the interest of time. I think let's go ahead without the slides. Unfortunately, not able to.
Sorry about this, but I was
No
trying my
problem.
best.
No problem. Please go ahead.
Okay. What I am trying to tell you is that plant quarantine is a legislative measure which helps us to prevent bringing disease into the country. And
Please put your camera on, Dr. Pratibha. We are not able to see you.
Okay. Is that okay now?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yes. What I'm trying to emphasize here is that whenever a plant is introduced into the country, there is a risk of introducing exotic pests into the country. So there is a regulation which is called as the Plant Quarantine Order of the year 2003, and it was under the Insect and Pest Act, which was a very old act of 1914, when the Britishers were there, and whenever new crops are coming into the country, there is a system of examining the plant after it is introduced and then releasing it to the user. So there is a process in the at NVPGR that we are following. It is based on that law, and the law is actually based on the international guidelines, which is known as the IPCC, that is the International Plant Protection Organization of the World, which sets the standards for examining plants into different countries, and which then countries have to make their own guidelines. So in India, we have the Plant Quarantine Order 2003. So what are the major requirements whenever we are introducing new anything into the country for research or for bulk use? An import permit is required from which is issued by the Government of India, and the phytosanitary certificate, which is a plant health certificate, that is issued by the countries which is exporting the material to the country. So there are two mandatory requirements. One is the import permit and the other is the phytosanitary certificate. In India, there are two channels of getting plants into the country. One is for bulk use, that is for food, for growing in bulk, and the other is for research. So under this plant quarantine order, MVPGR is authorized to import the research quantity material. That is, whenever we want to introduce material for research in small quantities, that is done through NVPGR. So NVPGR issues the import permit as per this government order, and then when the material is received into the country, it is examined from quarantine angle. And there are different disciplines in plant quarantine like pathology, entomology, nematology, bacteriology, virology. So all the disciplines, there are scientists at NVPCR who look at the seeds or the plants which are introduced for different types of pathogens. They are specialized in it. And if something is found infected, they generally use salvaging technique. Salvaging means if you wash the seeds with water, you may get rid of some of the surface insects, some pathogens which are on the surface. Or you might have to give a heat treatment so that the viability is also not lost and just the pathogens get killed. So there are various methods and protocols which are standardized at NVPCR. We are using these protocols to get rid of the pathogens which are coming with these plants. Okay, so NVPCR has a state-of-the-art facility for examining all the plants which are coming into the country. And this plant quarantine order, there are different schedules in this plant quarantine order, which has listed after so much of research with input from NVPCR. So there are three categories of plants. One is a category of plants, the schedule which says that these plants should not be introduced into the country. So they could lead to very devastating diseases into the country. So those plants are restricted for entry into the country. And second is a list of plants which says that you cannot introduce this plant from this particular country. Or you cannot introduce this species of this plant, you can introduce other species. See, there are also cases where the plants can become very weedy and they become very devastating weeds. So there is also an angle of whether a plant has been reported to be weedy in any other country. So for that also we have to do the risk analysis. So for example, in case of Hing, it was it was not introduced into the country since very long. Only in 1982 we had imported one sample which was sent to our Shimla station and it is not maintained again. So there was no practically history of having being introduced into the country. So for those species, the quarantine order says that we have to follow a pest risk analysis. So wherever this plant is cultivated in other countries, whether there are any diseases reported with that plant, so all this is examined, and then when the import permit is issued, some special conditions are given. That supposing we want to introduce the bean from Iran, it should be free from this particular disease, maybe which is occurring in Iran, and it is not, since the plant is coming for the first time, they should certify that this disease, the seed which we are importing, does not have this disease. So there is a method in introducing. So like Dr. Sanjay Singh also mentioned about, Dr. Sanjay Kumar, about monk fruit. So the similar exercise was done for introduction of monk fruit into the country. And one of the best examples for India, which is through NVPGR, the introduction of kiwi fruit has been very successful, which was introduced in the late 60s and early 70s. And now it is a crop which is cultivated in northern parts of the country like Himachal Pradesh and Arunachal. So NVPGR has played a very good role in introducing some of the new crops into the country through certification. Like Dr. Sanjay Kumar said that a lot of research during this 1 year has gone into establishing the plants into the country, then the protocol for germination. So for other crops, ICR is also working with where new species have been introduced and which should be how the germination protocols are developed, what is the multiplication process. So I'm very happy to see the progress which IFBC has made. And last year I was in a meeting in Turkey where some of the scientists from Uzbekistan were there, and they were very surprised that and I was very curious to know that how did they come to know that India had started cultivation and introduced beans from Iran. So this kind of networking is there among the growing countries, and they say that whatever Iran is cultivating has not originated in Iran. So nowadays there are also benefit sharing issues whenever we are introducing any new crop or variety into the country. Some of the varieties may be protected or having got a patent or what we call as plant breeders right. So the person who has got a right or a country which has registered a new variety in their name, there may be conditions when they share their material, whether they are sharing it for research, whether they are sharing it for commercial utilization. So tomorrow there may be issues at the international level whenever we are getting material from the other countries, we should be very much clear on how and what we are going to do with that material. And if there is a written MOU to that effect, that whether we are going to commercialize this material into the country, and if we commercialize, does the provider of the material have any request for benefit sharing or credit sharing? So all these conditions, if they are written beforehand and signed into the agreement, that will really help in help us in not getting into some trouble in the future. So this is all I would like to say, and if you have any question, I am here to answer. Thank you very much. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Dr. Pratibha, for your stating the role of how ICAR and how your institute in particular has made efforts to introduce new plants and new seeds in the country in a very safe and scientific manner. I think it's very important that we focus on introducing things in a safe and scientific manner, because these plants will multiply and stay in our country for many years. And thank you again very much for enlightening us. I hope the viewers have got a flavor of what are the steps and how much rigor is required actually to introduce these things in the country. It's not a trivial exercise, just introducing a new crop and cultivating it. And I hope with our joint efforts, really, someday we will really have a local Hing, and we can be proud of and say that we are using our local ingredients, and we go with the vocal for local slogan, what our Honorable PM has given. And I thank you so much. And lastly, I would like to thank all our speakers, and a special thanks to Dr. Vijay Bhatkar for being with us at the entire event. And thank you very much for listening to the Heeng Story also, and giving the words of wisdom and guidance for the future events of IISF. Thank you, sir, for gracing our event. And I would like to thank Dr. Shekhar Mande, who is leading the efforts of IISF from CSIR. And thank you, Dr. Sanjay Kumar, really for taking time and enlightening us on this very important topic. And in fact, I remember at one point when this was tweeted, it went viral. More than 3,000 people liked the tweet of Hing, and it was covered by international media like BBC News and Guardian, so much so that people started taking notice of the Hing. And it became, so I think it's a very important topic that we discussed today. And thank you, Dr. Pratibha, again for being with us and sharing your valuable work with us. And I hope the audience enjoyed it as much as we all enjoyed it. Thank you all, and please join us in IISF, and do not forget to register. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Namaskar, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.